Hello, everyone. I am Ann Meyer. You are watching Seizing Your Greatness, and I am excited for our guest today. She is an amazing woman. She has done so many things. She puts her money where and her mouth is. I mean, she just helps people, and is such an amazing entrepreneur. And I just want to bring her up on stage. Danette Galvis, welcome. So excited to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Julianne. So great to be here. Thank you.
You know, you're an author. You run and sober livings, multiple. You're in real estate. I mean, what is it that you can't do? I just feel like you're constantly giving back and making dreams come true. And I just want to point that out from the very beginning, because not everybody is willing to put themselves out and be that vulnerable and share themselves and their story as perfectly as you do. So thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Now, you know that I love to ask the question, what's something that we can't find out about you on the internet? Because, you know, everybody here is going to fall in love and do a little bit of internet stalking, but I'd love for you to share something that they can't find.
Well, I have to say two things, if that's okay.
Of course.
Can't find that I am a huge animal lover. I have 4 pets of my own, but we have had multiple. And then I love to garden. Gardening to me is such a life-giving event. It seems simple. It seems like you're not active in it, but the mind, the touching the earth, the touching the seed, watching the seed grow and become a fruit, something that nourishes our body. And then inside that, there's another seed. Like, I really kind of geek out over that. That would be something that you can't find on the internet about me. Is I've built a few gardens. I love gardening. And then my animals are just a joy to come home to as well.
I couldn't agree with you more on both of those fronts, actually, but I never even really thought about how truly amazing and remarkable gardening actually is and can be when you think about, like you just said, that seed and how many seeds you are planting for other people that you might not even get to see the fruit trees that come of that. But here you are, you know, you're an author. I mean, you've done so many wonderful things. I mean, I know I'm asking to kind of pick a favorite out of all your children, but what in this particular moment in time really lights your fire when it comes to how you spend your time?
Yes, well, I have one child, so I do get to pick a favorite. That's kind of fun. I tell her that as well. She's my favorite. She just turned 18 years old. She's in her senior year of high school, living her best life. And so I relish the time now when I can be home and be with her, even if it's 20 minutes in between her school and her rehearsal, or her school and her life event that she has going on that night, right? They're doing their own thing now. And so this is the phase of life where we are about to become empty nesters, and our fur babies will be really the highlights of our day. But right now I'm really relishing in the senior year and all the joys that brings, and a little bit of heartache coming on, but it really is joyful to be with her. So she would be my favorite. I can't say anything on that one.
I love that so much. It's like with anything, there's not just one emotion attached to most things, where it's beautiful and sad and all the different things in between, where, you know, that's, I guess, what makes life. It's just not one flavor, one color. There's all sorts of levels and thoughts and feelings and emotions surrounding things. So how did you end up getting into real estate? How did that, because it's not an easy career. So flipping houses and all of that is definitely, I've watched the horror stories on TV a lot. That's definitely kind of made me go, but I've always been kind of jealous of people like you that do that.
Well, it has definitely evolved. I did get my license 30 years ago. So I started using my real estate license, helping people relocate more in the apartment industry. And back then in Texas, you had to be licensed to receive commission for that. So that's how it began. My ex-husband was a home builder. And so at the same time, we both were building something in the vein of real estate. So building homes was something we did every day, every weekend. We would drive and look at houses, go look at open houses, go on home tours. Like, once it gets in your veins, it stays. It's in your blood, and it's an addiction. It becomes an addiction. And so I transitioned out of relocation services. I went into owning my own business at 21 years old, having partnered with the broker I was with, operating that business, then transitioning into advertising sales for the real estate industry. And then back after I had my daughter, I was able to go back into full-time real estate, being a seller's rep, listing homes. So I've kind of used my license for a multiple of things. After getting sober, actually today is my 10-year anniversary for sobriety. So
Happy birthday.
thank you. I figured what a better way to celebrate it than on this day with you and doing a podcast, right? Spreading the message, spreading the word of hope. But with real estate, I did take a break to focus on sobriety for a few years there. But then I got back into it as a real estate investor and as a flipping is, I am a misfix-it. That's what I write in the book. I love tools. I love fixing things. I love projects, DIY. I hang wallpaper, but I also love a drill and, things like that. So that progressed into me being my own GC. General contractors, this world is not easy. And there are some times where contractors no show, or they don't call you, or they're late. And not just general contractors, but the subcontractors that, the plumbers, the electricians. And so you have to be very flexible. But I really didn't want to be in a corporate world anymore. I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to run the show. And that is exactly what I have done. I show up to work every day. And that whether they do or not, it's running that event. It's managing that event of remodeling a house. I also get to be creative. I get to choose the tile. I get to choose the carpet. I get to choose the price point. I get to have the creative juices flowing every day. So it covers all the fun facets of it.
I like that because it's enough the same that there's a bit of routine, but there's also that creativity, so you don't really ever get bored, and there's always some sort of challenge. I always think of it kind of like a puzzle. So as I think I've never flipped a house, but I've definitely helped my dad remodel. And
Yeah.
an interesting fact about me is he taught me how to use a metal lathe at the age of 3. So I'm actually quite handy when it comes to power tools.
Yes. Yeah. I love it. Home Depot is my favorite store. I was tools and seeing what I can do. And I know my limits. Let me just say that. I hire the professionals. I hire the master electricians. I hire the master plumbers, and the tile, the detail work in the tile is very important. That's not my forte. So I know how to hire it out. I'm not crawling underneath houses. I'm not crawling on top of the roofs. I might be hanging some curtains. I might be doing some drapes. I might be doing the wallpaper. I might assist, and I'm always asking questions when the tradesmen are there, like, what are you doing that for? And that's how I've learned is in a way self-taught. And then just being on the job sites and, going through all the tasks that are necessary. One thing we haven't mentioned is I am a coach inside a real estate investing network specifically for women. And I coach them once a week on how to deal with contractors. What kind of questions when you're interviewing contractors? What happens if they don't show up? What happens if this goes on or if that goes on? And it really helps take away the fear of stepping into that kind of a role, because it is a man's world. Like 97% of real estate investors are men. And then you talk about general contractors, most of them are men. Tradesmen, most of them are men. So it is a brave thing to walk into a world like that and not be taken advantage of and be taken seriously. So I coach women on helping them with that too.
I love that because you're right. You take away the fear. Once you have the knowledge, then you can confidently step in and ask the questions you need to ask and know what your rights are and what's expected, because
Yes.
Oh my gosh, otherwise how would you even know? And that can be very intimidating. I love that. And tell us about your book. How did that come about?
I was just about to say that's exactly what I wrote in my book is a lot of tips and tools on how to remodel a house. And there was a day a couple of years ago that I was processing ideas. I guess it was just download from the Lord. I am a strong believer in my faith, and it just started to have a lot of parallels on making a home healthy again and making your body healthy again when it speaks to recovery. If your feet hurt, I have bad feet. I've had to have some surgeries on my feet. If your feet hurt, everything hurts. If your foundation isn't right in a house, nothing is right. Nothing is in alignment when you are opening a window or the doors won't stay, propped open. So the book is really a testimony of my sobriety journey and tools on how to rehab a home. I rehab homes and I've been to rehab. So RehabHER was created.
I love that so much. And turning pain to purpose and just letting other people know that they aren't alone. And if you can do it, they can do it.
Yes.
And so, you know, that I think is truly remarkable. And especially even in the rehab world, it's pretty male dominated as far as executives and things of that nature, or even in like the sober living homes, a lot of them, most of them are owned by men.
Yes.
So I love that you've stepped into that and kind of, I'm assuming, and please forgive me or correct me if I'm wrong, but you just saw a need that needed to be filled and you thought, you know what, I can be of service here. And I'm guessing that, you use your skills with real estate and figured out a way to make this happen.
Yes, it is a full circle thing because I get to own the real estate, building my real estate portfolio that will leave a legacy and an inheritance for my family or a retirement for me down the road. I get to operate something on the inside that has an impact. I've had Airbnbs. I've done long-term rentals where they sign a year lease and you make a couple $100 extra every month. This has an impact on the inside that is really saving souls from addiction. I love how you bring up a fact that here's another one, 70% of sober living is men. There is a need for women. I didn't know that there was a need when I did this and started this. I guess it's been about a year and a half when I started to work out the details of getting a sober living going. I didn't realize that there's 30% of them are for women. And another fact is women don't have the financial resources usually that men do. So the need is huge for women that might, they've lost everything or they don't have financial support, or let's say they're coming from a toxic relationship or a battered relationship and the men won't support it. They don't want them to leave. They don't want them there. They don't want them to find freedom. They don't want them to get sober. They want to oppress them and keep them stuck. And so the financial resources are huge for women that are trying to just get back on their feet. Yeah.
Yeah, I never really thought about it, but also it's kind of like if you're in that position, you obviously have made a lot of choices that aren't in your best interest leading up to that like place. And when I was running a rehab, it didn't matter. There were so very few people that actually had a lot of money, but
Right.
it was just like all the damage was catching up and they were finally doing something about it or trying to again. And it's such a blessing to be able to help people who just are brave enough to ask. I
Yes.
mean, because I think that there's so much shame associated with drug and alcohol addiction that we don't, there's like some sort of shame behind it. But if you're in, like, I'm not really in the world as much anymore as you are, but I gotta tell you, like, people still come up to me and there's daily still, and it's comes up. So and so has an addiction. I have one. I've been sober. I mean, there's like every single day somebody comes up to me and randomly
Yeah.
and tells me about some sort of addiction issue that they've faced or seen or been affected by. So, I just want to say thank you for being who you are and stepping up to the plate because, like you
I,
said.
I think the world is waking up to it because one, it is an addiction. It is a mental illness. It falls in that category. And people are starting to realize that while it might have been a choice that they started, but once that starts going, it's hard to stop, and you do need professional help. Even if your family's upset, even if you've, done all these things, or you may have legal troubles, but there's hope. And the world is waking up. I don't know if you noticed on social media, there are so many people that are starting to speak positively about recovery, or
Mhm.
positively about, just, you might not even have an addiction, just stop drinking, because alcohol is so toxic for our body. There is no positive reason to drink alcohol, and people are just giving it up for any reason. It doesn't have to be an addiction anymore. And so being sober is starting to become cool.
It's funny that you would say that. I actually saw an article the other day. I was talking with my cousin and I said, I don't miss drinking. I miss going to the bar. Like I miss being in that social atmosphere. And then the very next day I saw an ad for sober bars and I was like, what? there's like, there's an appetite now for sober.
Right.
Yeah. I thought that was really cool.
Well, when you're first in your addiction, and you might be able to relate to this, but I felt like I was going to be uninvited, that no one would want to hang out with me anymore, that I wouldn't be fun. And honestly, I am more fun now because I have that confidence back. And then
Mhm.
also, you're not picking up my dead weight body because I'm a blackout, passed out on the floor. I'm no
Exactly.
longer, let's say, high maintenance in that regard, but yet I still can go out and have fun, and maybe dance a little bit, not as long as I used to, but just have fun. I still love music. I still love it, all of the things that once were being done. I love going to dinners and events and concerts and things like that. So it's just,
Exactly.
now I get to remember it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you would say that because I invited one of my best friends from my drinking days to my wedding, and she and our friendship wasn't based on drinking, but we drank together, and so our friendship endured. But I hadn't seen her since I'd been sober, and when the first time when she saw me at the wedding, she looked at me, she goes, "Oh my gosh, you're still you," and that was the best compliment.
Right.
Except I'm not embarrassing her anymore.
Right. Version 2.0.
I'm not humiliating her and making a fool out of myself.
Yeah. Right.
So, yeah, no, I love that though. And then also, you were telling me before we started this that you're going to be joining the E360 TV family as a host. I am so excited.
Yeah.
So, for
So
those that
excited.
are watching, be sure to keep your eyes peeled because your show will be coming on sooner than later, and I'm very
Yes.
excited for
You
that.
know the name of it?
What's the name?
She Nailed It.
Oh my gosh, I love
The
that.
She Nailed It show. I actually had that after writing the book. When you do these kinds of things and you start to be brave and putting all of this into action, I never thought I'd write a book, right?
Yeah,
But now once it is here, it's like, okay, what do you do next? Well, lots of people do a podcast or something, and the
yeah.
way that the doors have just been opening has been beautiful. But I've had the She Nailed It in my mind for years now. And so to be able to say that it's actually happening is just surreal. And I'm so grateful to be able to be a part of this team and launch it and see where this goes, because this message needs to be heard and I've been called to it. So I've got to continue. So,
You know, I love that you say you were called to it. And the thing that I want to point out about that is a lot of people are called to do a lot of things, but we
oh,
don't
yeah.
answer.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh,
I
yeah.
have been one of those people, I'm not going to lie. But
Yeah.
the fact that you are answering that calling is, the other part of the story that needs to be heard and seen. So I'm excited that you're, going to bring it to life and we'll be able to see you weekly on E360 TV.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
Yes. And
And so,
the launch will have powerful women also, just like your show.
yay.
The first season will be the 12 women that have collaborated on the book, and there's another book coming out. So here's the thing again, just showing up to the calling. The
Mhm.
doors continue to open as you show up and say yes, and you take the action steps. God can't use a couch potato. So I say that often, and it is so true, even with what you're doing, right?
Yeah, it is true. And I like asking better questions, kind of like, who are you not to be the person to do this? Who are you not, and in the AA world, there's a saying, suit up, show up. And I've always loved that because no matter what, suit up, show up.
Right. And it's also extending your hand out for the next person in need.
Exactly.
I am not special. I am just 10 years ahead of someone. And that is a gift. Sobriety is a gift to me that I
Yeah.
didn't see when I first had to get sober. And when I say had to get sober, I had to get sober. Now I choose to stay sober.
Mhm.
And it's the life lessons and the tools in my toolbox that I'm using. And if I can help that next person and be of service and be a light and have one person say, you know what, I see her doing it, so I'm
Mhm.
going to do it too. If that's what my book can do, if that's what the story, any stories I have, if that's what sober living can do, if that's what this TV show can do, I'm going to do it.
We've talked about sober living, but there's some people who are watching and don't really understand what that is. And I'd love for you to actually describe what sober living is,
Sure.
because I don't know who we're going to help today, but we're going to help
Yeah,
somebody.
right. Well, so many people are afraid. One, they're afraid of going to an AA meeting, right?
Mhm.
That's the one step. Two, going to treatment. I would go to treatment again if I could, because the where I was at when I first stepped into treatment, I was angry, I was bitter, I
Mhm.
felt forced, but I knew I needed to because it was not good for me anymore. And so I was just taking baby steps at that time. But if I could go back now and continue to work on my emotional health, my mental health, my physical health, all the other things that rise up after years of staying sober, now that I'm more clear headed, I would go. Sober living, to answer your question, is that step down, staying in programming of recovery. Uh,
Mhm.
Inpatient treatment is 30 days intensive, and you don't have your phone, you're in therapy all day long, and you don't really have communication much with family, so you're really focusing in on yourself and staying sober. Sober
Mhm.
living is that step down where you have some freedom back. You are now learning some life skills to help you get back on your feet so that you can then present yourself to the world, let's say 30, 60, 90 days later, or 6 months later, depending on what your life looked like before you went into treatment, so that you could go and get a job again, go and get to meetings versus going to a bar. You're recreating your life, but
Mhm.
you're doing it in a sober environment. Sober living is shared living where you have roommates. Just like in treatment, you have a roommate in treatment usually. And so, sober living, you're going to have a roommate as well, because
Mhm.
isolation is not our friend. And accountability is a huge key to helping people survive this disease. If you see someone suffering or using in the home, then that's something that is acknowledged and reported. It's observed and reported by everybody in the home. It's building relationships with other women that have gone through the same thing, or they're in struggle right now, and or going through a divorce, or trying to get back on their feet from a job, or they had legal issues, like you name it. These women surround each other, and they really are helping each other to get through the next day and to stay sober. Most importantly, there's accountability with drug testing, breathalyzing. We do fun events. We have weekly meetings. We cook dinners together. We are really teaching some life skills to help give women confidence to get back out there.
Yeah, and have fun and do it sober.
Swim again, do some healthy habits.
Yeah, exactly.
It's even just the little things of waking up at a reasonable hour in the morning
Mhm.
meditations, making your bed, taking a shower, putting some lip gloss and mascara on, and presenting yourself to the world much different than you may have in your addiction when you didn't even possibly shower for a couple of days.
Oh yeah, that was me. That was me, hands down. Anyway, we are almost out of time. We only have about a minute left. I'm just curious, really quickly, is there anything you wish I would have asked you that you'd love to share with our audience?
Yes. How can you donate? How can you help women who are in this financial need to come and be of service. Even it's $5, $2, whatever it might be, everything would count. And I am partnered with a 501c3 now that will funnel and give resources to the sober living homes that I'm building and growing. And those resources will be used to help a woman get into sober living. So you can go to the website and click on the donate button and be able to donate to this cause.
That is so beautiful, and happy birthday again. I feel honored that you chose to share it with us. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
It's an amazing thing. And now you're double digits.
I know. 10 years, it's flown by. I can't even think back right now about it, but the blessings do come. They talk about this in the treatment and in the rooms. The blessings do come, and they have, and they will continue.
They do. Well, that is all the time that we have for today. So thank you so much for joining us. And to our audience, thank you for joining in and listening to our conversation. Please do enjoy the rest of your week, and we will be back again next Thursday. Until then, have a great day.